Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Reverend Cheryl Fair. I am the minister at Unity of Fredericksburg, and I am pleased to welcome you to our weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. Our speaker today is Roy Boyd. If there ever happened to be an adjective to describe Roy Boyd, it would definitely be artist. Artist, humanist, spiritualist, born in Washington, D.C. and raised in Manassas, Virginia, Boyd was affected by the arts at an early age. In his teens, he studied music and theater and pursued those disciplines throughout his lifetime to the present day. Currently, he is a professor at Virginia State University, where he teaches speech and drama. He divides his wonderful life with his beautiful partner, Imaja Jubilee, between Richmond and Charlotte County, Virginia. And now, here is L. Roy Boyd III.
God evening, a rousing God evening to all of you here at Unity of Fredericksburg. It is indeed an honor to be here with all of you this morning, and I wish to thank you for having me be with you. I was so pleased to be asked by Reverend Cheryl of all times of the year to speak during the season of nonviolence. A season that we edify and draw inspiration from the great figures of history and the like of Wilma Mankiller, Cesar Chavez, Mahatma Gandhi, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday we are celebrating this weekend. And as often as we speak of Dr. King, the words, the beloved community, often come up. In Atlanta, Georgia, the King Center, the Center for Nonviolent Social Change, headed by Dr. King's daughter, Reverend Bernice King, has enacted for their theme for the 2023 MLK Day celebration. Their theme is cultivating the beloved community mindset. It starts with me. On this 2023 MLK holiday, I would like to ask rhetorically, what is a beloved community? As conveyed by the Harvard scholar Grace Tatter, the beloved community is a community in which everyone is cared for, where there is absence of poverty, hunger, and hate. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. popularized the term during his lifetime of activism and imbued it with a new meaning fueled by his faith that such a community was in fact possible. So how did this concept of a beloved community originate? And was it the brainchild of Dr. King? Actually, it traces all the way back to 1913, to the theologian Josiah Royce. A contemporary of Charles Fillmore, Josiah Royce was a prominent American metaphysical leader of the late 19th century. In 1913, he wrote, "My life means nothing, either theoretically or practically, unless I am a member of a community." It was understood by Royce that apart from the communities of work, neighborhood, social clubs, etc., there existed an ideal community, a community devoted to the precepts of loyalty, truth, and love. Upon this concept, Royce went on to found the Fellowship of Reconciliation, This was a movement that would later be joined and supported by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, if we want to talk so much about Martin Luther King, it is fitting to begin with Howard Thurman, an author, philosopher, theologian, mystic, and spiritual mentor to Dr. King. Thurman was a prominent religious figure and a civil rights leader himself who criticized Christianity for the deep racial divides in America during the time of Jim Crow. As a mystic, it was the psychology professor, Loretta Coleman Brown, who said Thurman was actually practicing contemplative spirituality before we actually started calling it contemplative spirituality. Thurman, being an educator, he served as a guest lecturer at various colleges, seminaries, and universities nationwide, and served as the dean of the Rankin Chapel at Howard University. It was there where Thurman crossed religious boundaries by introducing an interdisciplinary spirituality, by incorporating the visual arts, theater, and dance in the church service. And in 1944, he co-founds with the Reverend James Fisk, he co-founds the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples in San Francisco, California. This was the first intentional intercultural, interracial, interfaith, interdenominational spiritual organization of inclusion. Now, some would say, hold on a minute. What about unity? Well, Fisk and Thurman operated, they worked upon the deep reality in America at that time. Remember, this was the early 40s, and we were still in the midst of World War II. This was 1944, and what happened then is true today, that the 11 o'clock hour every Sunday morning happens to be the most segregated hour in America. Thurman and Fisk fought that reality by creating a community, a place where people of all nationalities and cultures were encouraged to wear their native dress to church, a place where Black children and white children could play and socialize together at a time when blatant racism was the national law of the land. It was through his actions and deeds, the ones that Thurman practiced and created. He created in action a beloved community. Thurman influenced Dr. King with the philosophy of nonviolence. Thurman was the first Black theologian to travel to India and meet with Mahatma Gandhi himself. Howard Thurman learned from Gandhi the concept of social transformation, and he was committed to the philosophy of nonviolence as a spiritual expression. Thurman learns from Gandhi that it is through the African American that nonviolence will be the force of world transformation. Remember, this is during the time of segregation in America, and that also affected the rest of the world. Now, preaching and teaching this philosophy of nonviolence all over America in the colleges and the universities, this grabs the attention of a young Martin Luther King Jr., who, with his wife Coretta Scott King, visited India in 1959. That trip was made to deepen his understanding of Gandhi's principles, principles first taught to Howard Thurman. When we hear of the beloved community, we automatically think of Dr. King, and this is because of his use in the term in his time of activism and in his writings. For instance, in 1957, Dr. King wrote of such a community, and if I may quote, the aftermath of the fight with fire method is bitterness and chaos. The aftermath of the love method is reconciliation and creation of the beloved community. In addition to Dr. King, Dr. Cornel West, Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, and the scholar Bell Hooks have all been influenced by Thurman and his philosophy of the beloved community. To quote Professor Hooks, if we want a beloved community, we must stand for justice, have recognition for difference without attaching difference to privilege. And such is the precursor for today's talk on the beloved community. Earlier, I mentioned that King wrote that the aftermath of the love method is reconciliation and creation of the beloved community. The method of love, yes, love. In the philosophy of Thurman's theology, love is understanding. Love is creative. Love is redemptive goodwill for one's enemies. All of these are the components of the radical nonviolent philosophy taught to him by Mahatma Gandhi. And I will expand on this. Regarding this philosophy, in King's 1956 address entitled Facing the Challenge of a New Age, he wrote, "The end is the creation of a beloved community. It is the type of spirit and this type of love that can transform oppressors, opposers into friends." Love is the key. Love is transformative. Love is transformation. Those words, transformative, transformation, derived from the word transform. To transform. The word transform and its definition, to make a thorough or dramatic change in the form, appearance, or character of. In this third decade of the 21st century, we are at a critical intersection in the chronicles of our country. A country that has suffered an egregious past of chattel slavery, which was its worst mistake, followed by the Black Codes and Jim Crow, to now a place of institutional racism, where we challenge the norms of the old guard and ushering in a new reality. We are at a crossroads where we must choose wisely. We must choose whether we will pursue the preservation of humanity or destroy it. Whether we choose to expand our thinking in creating critical strategies to eradicate this new spirit of violence. And in the path of our beloved community, we choose to usher in transformation. This means we are committed to great change, both externally and internally. Where there is rocky and discomforting change, all for the outcome of preventing the destruction of a society. Rocky and discomforting change is well worth it. We must embrace this change in order to build bridges, to connect our divisions, to reconstruct our destructive language, to humanize our governmental policies for the betterment of man, and to encourage community. A true community of inclusion. I will repeat that again. A true community of inclusion. Right now, we are in what Reverend Bernice King calls a moral distress. The moral distress cultivates a new way of thinking and transforming unjust systems. both of which happen in tandem with what Martin Luther King called a radical revolution of values. King also said, and I'm sure you've heard this before, that there is nothing more tragic than to sleep through a revolution. One of the greatest liabilities of history is that all too many people find themselves standing amid a great period of social change, and yet they fail to achieve the new attitudes and the new mental outlooks that the new situation demands. So many people fail to remain awake through great revolutions. We cannot facilitate and embrace new situations without new attitudes and new mental outlooks. We cannot transform unjust systems without cultivating a beloved community mindset. Albert Einstein once said, problems cannot be solved with the same thinking and on the same level on which they were created. We are in a moral distress. And as we begin this third week of 2023, we are entangled in political policies, practices, and crises. Crises concerning poverty, immigration, partisanship, climate change, and racial division. We are in a moral distress. So, this demands that we reach higher in our thinking and deeper in love to get us out of this human-made conundrum of humanity, inequity, and injustice. How? It starts with me. The King Center's holiday observance, I'll repeat it again. It starts with me. Please remember this, mindset matters. Mindset matters. We all know this. This is Metaphysics 101, the grounding foundation of metaphysical spirituality. We were taught this from the beginning in Unity Consciousness. We are taught that all is mind. Mindset matters. So to first manifest a beloved community, we must first cultivate a beloved community mindset, a mindset to transform unjust systems. Reverend Bernice King herself, she said that if we are to change the trajectory of our world house, cultivating a beloved community mindset is vital. A beloved community mindset must have vision, and a beloved community mindset must put into practice and action the transformation of unjust systems. A beloved community mindset entails understanding that we are interconnected, interdependent, and interrelated. So how do we begin cultivating this mindset? Well, we start with the woman and the man in the mirror. Let us first change the shortcomings in ourselves, because if we want to make this world a better place, we must take a look at ourselves and make that change. So let us make that change. Let us do away with greed, arrogance, selfishness, elitism, judgment, and learn to meet each other where we are and accept each other. And from there, let us learn to work together. Let us learn to agree to disagree, and together blending your ideas, my ideas, our work ethic and dedication, and create our beloved community. Let it begin with me. I'm starting with that woman or man in the mirror. The beloved community. I mean, do you have the vision? And if you have the vision, do you feel it? The word beloved. Now let's break that down briefly. beloved. Be. I will be the change I wish to see in the world. And I will spread my love to others with the understanding that I am love. And if I am love and I spread love, then I transform others by my love, because love is transformative. I be, and I am love, then I am beloved. And by example, I lead to cultivate our beloved community. Now, if each one of us could do that, we will manifest the beloved community. And as I conclude, I leave you with this. Dr. Cornel West once said, I have decided to love. And if you are seeking the highest good, you can find it through love. And the beautiful thing is, we are moving into wrong when we do not do it. Because John was right. God is love. And Professor Sister Bell Hooks, she continues, she said, she who hates does not know God. She who hates does not know God, but she who has love has the key that unlocks the door to the meaning of ultimate reality. It was through the emanation and the fuel of Dr. King's faith that he convinced us that indeed such a community is indeed possible. And that ultimate reality, as Sister Hooks mentioned, is our beloved community. The ultimate reality is the beloved community. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Roy, for that passionate and articulate and inspiring message. So let us all right now, friends, take all that you have received here this morning and let's move into a space of meditation together. So if you would, just join me in taking a few deep breaths. Coming into this moment right here and now. Quieting the mind and opening the heart. Opening the heart and beginning to embody this idea of beloved community. Just feel your heart expanding. Let me share a quote from Scripture. This is from the Gospel of Thomas, the words of Jesus. I'm paraphrasing, but Jesus said in Thomas, "Those who seek shall find. And when you find, you shall be disturbed. And when disturbed, you will expand your mind and grow to greater and greater awareness." So as our hearts witness all of the activity of the human world around us, rather than engaging and getting involved with the sorting out of good and bad and right and left, when you see those things happening, I invite you to turn to the heart, turn your focus to your divine nature, and raise your energy up to that level in which beloved community is the essence of our being. That level of oneness where we are all truly connected without any of the barriers of society. And that's where we take our energy right here, right now, friends. Let us take all of the energy from what we have heard this morning, turn it pivot toward oneness, unity, beloved community, and let us dwell there in the stillness, in the silence together right now. And as we begin to bring our focus back to the here and now, we remember that we are one together, that we have the capacity to set aside all of the judgments of the human mind and the human society that divide us so often. We have this capacity to dwell in oneness, to dwell in unity, to dwell in beloved community. And we are the source of creating this in our outer world. So when we witness conflict in the outer world, when you witness that, remember, take a breath, shift your attention, and be the energy of beloved community. And for our capacity to do that anytime we wish, in any kind of stressful situation, we are grateful. So as we close this time of meditation, let us affirm together. Put your hand on your heart and affirm with me, I am grateful. Let's do it 3 times together. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. And so it is. So we are so grateful for our guest speaker here today. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, we thank you for joining our weekly broadcast. Please like this video and subscribe to the Unity of Fredericksburg YouTube channel so you can find us easily again next week, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Our time together continues on Zoom with music and prayer and interaction. If those of you on YouTube would like to join us for the full experience of our Sunday mornings, simply send an email to info@uofva.org to receive the Zoom link. Learn more and support our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation at our website, uofva.org. Thanks for watching on YouTube, and we will see you next time.